Morning. Well, this morning I've got a really delightful message from Jesus who reminds us that Jesus is God. He knows everything about the past, He knows everything about the future, and He is the Creator. Here goes. My child, as you travel tomorrow to a new country, reflect on my greatness and my love for you all. Although new for you, there is nothing new for me. No historian or archaeologist can tell me a single thing about the past, no more than a scientist or an astronaut can tell me a single thing about the future or about the universe that I do not know already. And yet, my children, like little children, you busy yourselves trying to learn about the past and the future, while often forgetting about me, God, the author of creation, who is alive. Yes, my children, so very often you treat me as if I don't exist, or as if I am dead. You go on journeys of exploration and discovery without asking me for help and without acknowledging that I possess all the answers. You prefer your own explanations to my truths, and you teach others to deny my very existence. My children, all of humanity, every race and creed must turn to me in prayer. It is in prayer, my children, where you will find peace for yourselves and the world, and not in digging up the past or second guessing the future. Pray, pray, pray. Turn to my mother who is leading you to my heart through prayer. Wow, isn't Jesus absolutely amazing? I mean, if you think about it, Jesus is better than any archaeologists. You know the way archaeology is developing, and they develop new techniques all the time, and they can, sometimes they say they found Noah's Ark, or they found bones of this or bones of that, and all of a sudden they're reevaluating the way they see humanity. For Jesus, poof, he made humanity. He was there. He knows every single thing about the past. Same about the future. Maybe the iPhone 14 is out now. For Jesus, iPhone 14? Rubbish. Jesus knows about the iPhone 114 and 1014, and he has no need for any of them because he is supernatural. And so what Jesus is saying is there is absolutely nothing, past, present, or future, that is new to him. But there are things that are new to us. And he starts this message talking to me because he knows today I'm going to Germany where I haven't been before. And he says, reflect on my love for you. Because for me it's a new country, for him it's not new. And so when we think of that, we really have to be humble. But then Jesus goes off to say, yes, my children, so very often you treat me as if I don't exist, or as if I am dead. In other words, so very often people either deny the existence of God, or else they think that God knows nothing. He says, you go on journeys of exploration and discovery without asking me for help, or without acknowledging that I possess all the answers. In other words, sometimes people treat Jesus a little bit like you might treat your grandfather or someone that was uneducated. Say, for example, if your grandparents or great-grandparents were uneducated, what would they know about modern technology? What would they know about travel or whatever? They never had those opportunities, so you wouldn't ask for their advice. And so Jesus is saying the same thing. So very often people treat him as if he's an idiot, basically, as if he knows nothing, as if he's dead, or as if he doesn't exist. And then he says, you prefer your own explanations to my truths. So imagine, for example, you've got a little child, and I don't know, the little child looks up into the sky and with their imagination makes up some kind of a story about how the universe was created. And of course, you're just smiling at the child thinking, oh, well, it's a nice story, but, it's not really like that. But anyway, but the child prefers to believe their version than your version. The child, for example, I don't know, prefers to believe that there's a man on the moon and the moon is yellow and it's made of cheese. The child prefers to believe that than the actual fact that it's reflecting the sun's light and it's actually millions of miles away and it's made from anything but cheese. And for Jesus, it's the same thing. Sometimes through science, through our own ideas, we're coming up with explanations, or scientists are coming up with explanations and things about the past, the present, the future, the universe, and things that aren't true at all. But Jesus says that they don't even acknowledge that Jesus knows, that deny his existence. They prefer his own explanations and or their own explanations. And not only do they prefer their own explanations, but then they teach other people the same thing. It's like the blind leading the blind. And Jesus says, my children, all of humanity, every race and creed must turn to me in prayer. When he says turn to me, he means turn to God, turn to the Creator, turn to Jesus. It is in prayer, my children, where you will find peace for yourselves and the world. It's not in digging up the past or second guessing the future. In other words, it's not in some sort of archaeological exploration that we're suddenly going to discover the raison d'etre and the world is going to become fantastic. Nor is it sending an astronaut into outer space, in deep outer space, and finding some other planet where human beings can live, and then trying to make some sort of a shuttle bus where we can all say, beam me up, Scotty, and we'll go off to this new planet and we'll all live happily ever after. Nonsense, rubbish. Nor is it in developing, the latest of technologies and trying to develop time travel so we can all live in this universe of peace or something. Total and absolute rubbish. Jesus is saying, rubbish. It's only in turning to Jesus, turning to God, turning to prayer. Jesus is everywhere. Even if we were able to travel into the future, Jesus will be in the future, he will be in the past. We would never escape from our need for salvation, our need from him, and the reality of sin and the reality of his precious blood to save us. And so he finishes by saying, pray, and turn to my mother. Turn to my mother, who's Our Lady. Turn to my mother, who is leading you to my heart through prayer. And so let us begin this week putting aside all the distractions, all the false gods, all the false reasonings we have, all the false notions we have about science, about the past, about whatever, and let us invest that time in what really matters, in prayer. Because it's in prayer that we go deep into, not into outer space or not into the earth like an archaeologist. We go deep into our spirits, into our souls, and we root up, with the help of the Holy Spirit, we root up the weeds and we sow seeds of grace with Jesus. And those seeds of grace are seeds of eternity. They're seeds of time travel, almost to a point. They're seeds of where we will spend all of eternity with Jesus. And so we don't need to be an archaeologist. We don't need to be a scientist. We don't need to be an astronaut. What we do need to be is we need to be simple. We need to be faithful. And we need to trust in the supernatural action of the Holy Spirit, who acts in us and through us when we turn our hearts to him in prayer. So on that note, have a supernatural week, and I will talk to you from Germany. Auf Wiedersehen.